Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of In Distress, a podcast where I talk about nonsense in the comfort of my childhood bedroom. Sorry, I need to fix the mic. I do want to apologize for this episode being late. What had happened was I was feeling really sick on Friday, and so I went to urgent care and I found out that I have a viral infection. And then I came home and I ate some dinner and I was feeling a little bit better. And it was like my throat was swollen and like to the point of like I was waking up out of my sleep that morning because I couldn't swallow. And so I went to urgent care or whatever after I got left work. And I couldn't get the prescription that the lady had prescribed me because it was like 9 p.m. They closed at 8, but they were doing telecalls. I couldn't even see somebody in person. I was sitting there with my mouth open in the camera. And she was like, just put the camera up to your mouth and say, ah. And I was like, this is awkward. This is a little too much for me. But yeah. So then I went home, ate some dinner. I watched this basketball game and I fell asleep. The game went into double overtime. So I was super sick. I didn't see that. I went back and watched it when I woke up. But when I woke up, I was like, I'm feeling a little bit better, so I should record it when I after I take my bath. So I took a bath and I tried to record. I wasn't even going to try to record. I just was not feeling great. My throat was swelling up again. And then I was like, girl, let me just go to sleep. And so I did. And then yesterday was Saturday and I went to go get my prescription. It didn't work fast. First of all, it did not work fast. And then I was like, I'll record it later. But I came upstairs and took a nap. And then I'm chewing gum because my throat be dry. I need to create saliva. That's besides the point. Anyways, but I went to sleep and then I tried to record last night because I was feeling a lot better. I had taken this extra strength Tylenol, and that right there, that stuff, that's the real stuff right there. Anyways, but I recorded it and then I was thinking about it when I was done recording it, and I was like, it didn't feel good. Like, it didn't feel like my best work. And I was like, the episode's already late. So, like, I might as well just, like, see what I can do tomorrow, which is today, Sunday right now. And I was like, I guess I'm just going to try to come on here for, like, 30 minutes and try to talk. Just come on here and yap. But, yeah, I do want to say I am sorry the episode's late for people who listen, but also I did want to make sure that I got one up because I told myself that I really wanted to have a new episode every week. And so here I am. But yeah, sorry, my apologies, but I was like, felt like I was dying over there in the corner. I thought it was COVID or strep, but they tested me for that and the test came back negative. So I don't have that. I'm just down bad, I guess. Anywho, but when I was recording it before, I had talked about everything that I had on my list, and in my mind, it was going to be such an exciting episode. And then when I was thinking about it, I was like, damn, that episode sucked. Like, I can do better. Like, I know I need to do better. Because actually, I'm a little nervous because what had happened was, and this is where my fear of success comes from. On TikTok and even like this YouTube channel now, on my TikTok, like I used to like make jokes and stuff. And like sometimes the videos would do well, sometimes they wouldn't. It was whatever. Like whatever I was thinking about, that's what I was making a TikTok about. And I started making like basketball content on there because I enjoy watching basketball. And then also I have like a basketball podcast now, which if you don't know, it's called Girl to Like Hoops. Really great. People seem to like it anyways. But yeah. And so that's the content that I enjoy making and talking about. Yeah. But I'm really struggling to find, sorry, I may be coughing a lot through this episode. I'm really sorry. But I'm just really struggling to like find the balance of like talking about basketball, yes, because I really enjoy it, but also like doing what I've done before and like I've always done. And I don't know, like it's just really confusing. And it's also like I got a lot of new subscribers from my basketball podcast, which again, I'm really proud of that. And I'm glad that that's doing well because I was really nervous that nobody was going to listen to it because people listen to this podcast on YouTube, but they don't listen to it on like Spotify. But like this other podcast is doing well on YouTube and on Spotify. And like, again, I'm super excited about that. So happy, but I'm really struggling to find the balance between making basketball content and then talking about like pop culture stuff or like making jokes about stuff that are just like on my mind. And so I'm really struggling with that on TikTok and YouTube. And yeah, and so I was kind of like, I don't want people who like subscribe to the basketball podcast or like listen to it. I don't want them to like, oh, she put out a new video. this podcast is not pertaining to basketball at all. I talk about it like every now and then, but yeah, it's not pertaining to that at all. This is just like a fun pop culture podcast where like I talk about my problems in my life and how I'm about to get laid off my job. I just come on here and yap, and it's just really fun for me. It's like therapeutic. But anywho, but yeah, I was kind of like, I don't want this episode to suck if other people come and listen to this podcast, like, and they don't have an intention of intentionally clicking on it for a reason. Anyways, and I was like, I don't want it to suck, but it's also like, I don't know. This is just really confusing for me. Like, and this is why, like, I be low-key afraid of, like, trying new things, because then it's like I'm putting a bunch of energy into that new thing, and then I don't know. Like, it takes me a minute to, like, get back to how I was showing up for other things in my life. And so that other podcast, like, or not the other podcast, but, like, when I was recording this podcast yesterday, it just didn't feel like me because I wasn't being myself, and it was just a lot. I don't know. But anywho, let's get into the fun stuff, or really not even the fun stuff. I'm gonna just, like I said, I'm gonna just come on here and yap about nonsense, because I tried doing my list of topics and it just wasn't hitting yesterday. So we're gonna try something a little different, just off the dome, like it always should be. That's how any podcast should always be for me, off the dome. Anywho, but I went to go see that Challengers movie, and spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, skip ahead. Actually, I'll tell you when to skip ahead because I have a funny story to tell in between. Okay, anyways. So my friend, she gets her and like our other friend that lives with her, they get their mail sent to me sometimes, because before now in the new place they moved into, they haven't been able to like get mail. So they would just send it to my house and they would come pick it up. So one of my friends had got her driver's license sent to my house, and she needed to come get it, and it had been a while. It had been here for a little minute. So she was like, okay, so I'm already going to be in the area, and we live pretty far away, which is why I don't really see my friends that often. But when I do, it's always fun. Like, I talk to them almost every day. Like, we have our group chats and stuff, and like I'm always on FaceTime with some of them, and it's really great, and I talk to them every day, like I said, but I just don't see them in person all the time. But whenever I see them in person, it's always a fun time, and I just really enjoy spending, like, time with them in person, obviously, because it's like, I feel like it's a very human experience to want to spend time with people in person. But anywho, we go, and also, I'm sorry I keep saying anywho, there was this girl who commented one time on a YouTube video of this podcast and was like, you say anywho a lot, and I was like, damn, let me work on that, and so I had stopped. But then I started saying a lot. And I think last week I said a lot. And even on my other podcast I said a lot. And then I was just thinking about all the time. And I was like, damn, like I just need to do better. But also at the same time, I'm just a girl. Like, damn, people be asking too much. I'm just a girl. Anyways, back to what I was saying. And then somebody had clocked me on anyways. You say anyways a lot. I didn't know I was talking to the English police. My God. Like, I didn't know I was talking to the podcast police. Damn. Can't do nothing right. Anyways. I'm in a version of hell. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I just enjoy spending time with my friends, but she was like, since I'm going to be in the area already, we should just like go to Buffalo Wild Wings, hang out and go see a movie, because what we did the last time they were here. So it was just my one other friend. So we went, she showed up. Well, no, she didn't show up. We met at Buffalo Wild Wings, and then we may or may not have. Okay. And then we went in to eat. So, we go in to eat. First of all, the table was dirty as hell. Let's start there. The table was dirty as hell. And I was kind of like, they put us right at the table by the entrance. And I was kind of like, damn, like y'all couldn't have done something else like this. Anyways, and so we're like looking at the table, and I'm like, this table really is dirty. Like, we over here, like, there's crumbs on it. You can see. I was like, and our waitress was not coming quickly enough to the point of like asking, hey, can we get like a rag or like a wipe or something to wipe down? So I went back to the car and I got some of my hand sanitizer and just sprayed it on the table, and we just wiped it down with a napkin. Anyways, so we ordered our food, and she was like, oh, do you want to get a drink? And so, I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And so, she gets this drink. It's like this blue coconut situation. It looked great. It looked really good. And so I didn't really know what I was going to get. And I was really leaning towards this, like, I think it was like a bourbon punch. I'm 23, by the way. Anyways, I was leaning towards getting this like bourbon punch. and they were like, oh, we're out of the stuff for the bourbon punch. And I was like, damn, like, girl. And so then I was like, okay, let me just get this strawberry margarita. But my friend was kind of like, I don't really know if you want to do the strawberry margarita because it had Luna Azul in it. And if you don't know what Luna Azul is, first of all, I don't drink like that. Like, I don't enjoy drinking that much. Like, it's not that fun for me. Like, I really only drink socially. It's not, oh, there was that one time I did this podcast with the wine, and that was a funny episode. But besides that, and like, besides like a little bit, and like, I don't even drink real wine. I drink Stella Rose, which is like carbonated wine. It's not even that serious for real. Like, very low alcohol content. It's basically just grape juice. Sparkling grape juice at that. But I really like it, but I don't really enjoy like feeling drunk or anything like that. So we go and like I said, they had Luna Azul in it. And my friend was kind of like, ooh, girl, I don't really know if you want that because that's in there. And the story behind that is there was one time we went to Vortex, which is like this popular burger place in Atlanta. And it's really just like a little, I guess you can say sports bar. I really don't even know if you can call it a sports bar. I don't even really know what it is. It's really just like a bar where people sit down and eat, but they have drinks. So we went there this one time for our friends, and me and my friend Alani, who I had gone to this Buffalo Wild Wings with, we went together in this Uber because obviously we weren't gonna be able to drive because we knew we were gonna be drinking and going out because we were going out after we met at Vortex. I think we we're going out for somebody's birthday. So we all meet up at Vortex, and they're like, we're not gonna be able to sit you, like we're gonna be closing in like an hour, like we don't think we're gonna be able to seat you. So we went to the bar and ordered our food to go, and then we got a drink. And our friend Xavier, he works at this Mexican restaurant, and they have Luna Azul there. And sometimes he be getting some of the drinks there. And so he was like, yeah, this Luna Azul, like, it's crazy. This is the only, I think it's tequila because it had lime with it. So it's like, this is the only tequila they had. So yeah. So he gives us the shots. He got me, Alani, and himself one. These weren't just regular shots. These weren't just one-off shots. No, this was a double shot. And then they had a little lime on the side. And so we start going to drink it. And first of all, you know, like when like, you know, like the drink is about to be strong as hell because when you're going to take the shot, like then the smell hits you before, girl. This was actually atrocious, and I couldn't even swallow it at first because I had went to put it up in my mouth, and I was like, ooh, girl, no. And the way my body, it fights back. It's gonna fight back a shot a little bit. And so I saw my friends kind of struggling, and my friends, they drink a little bit more than me, and so they were already kind of struggling with it. And I was like, ooh, girl, I'm gonna have to take mine in pieces. So I had to do mine in like three sips. Okay, it took me like 3 sips to get mine down. Hold on, I had to take the gum out. It was getting a little too saliva-y in there. Anyways. But I had to do mine in 3 pieces, and then I think they did theirs in like 2 or maybe 1. They definitely didn't do it in 1. They both did it in 2, I think. So, you know, I did mine, and I was like nibbling on the lime a little bit, and I did my other one, nibbled on the lime a little bit, and did the last one, and nibbled on my lime a little bit, and then my food was ready. So I go over there and get my little burger, and it came with the fries, and then I, you know, dressed it up, had the mayo, mustard, ketchup, and I went outside because my friends and I were sitting outside since they didn't have any tables inside. So, you know, I'm out there and this shot is hitting me. Like it worked quickly. All right. Like I'm a lightweight anyways, which is why I don't really do too much in the first place. But like that Luna Azul shot cooked me, okay? It cooked me. And I know it wasn't the one who got cooked because the rest of my friends are kind of on the same level. So, you know, we're sitting out there on the bench and it's a little chilly because I think it was like fall. I want to say it was like fall or like late winter or something like that. And my friends, they were telling me, oh, Tori, you should wear a crop top. And I don't be wanting to wear a crop top because I don't like my stomach out. Like I be getting cold. I can't do all that. And then I be feeling like I need to suck in. It's a whole thing. Anyways, I don't really love a crop top. I don't love a tube top. I don't love any of it. But I wear it because, you know, it's what my friends want from me. So I'm a people pleaser at heart. Not like too much of a people pleaser because I actually talked about this on the podcast before. But I try my best not to people please anymore. But anywho, I was like, okay, so I just wore it or whatever. Stomach was out a little bit, but it is what it is. And it was a little chilly that night. And that's why I don't be wearing the crop tops because I be chilly at night. Anyways, so we're sitting out there on this bench and I'm eating this burger. I got provolone cheese on it. I don't know why that was the option. I think they were out of cheddar cheese. Anyways, but I got provolone cheese on it. And like I said, I had just dressed it up and I'm eating the fries and the Luna Azul shot had basically taken away the taste in my tongue. I could not taste anything. But low key, I was like, is this burger even good like that for real? If one shot, one double shot really, is taking me out like this, like, I should be able to taste this burger, right? Anyways, so I'm sitting there, I'm eating the burger, don't know how it tastes, but it's going down and it's going down quick because I was starving. That was the other thing. Did I eat before that shot was taken? I don't think I ate. Damn. Anyways, so I'm sitting there eating the fries, and my friend Xavier, he didn't order any food. I think he got fries, but he was still hungry. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, Tori, your burger looks so good. You wouldn't let me have some, would you?" And I was like, "Why would I not let you have some?" Like, Xavier is like, I don't know. He's like my brother. I can't even like really explain that, but like we talk on the phone like almost every single day. We play video games together, like I be talking to him about the problems I be having, which is what you do with most of your friends, yeah. But I talk to him all the time, and like I said, he's like my best friend, but also like he's like my brother at the same time. So like when it comes to like them, like I don't know what it is, but like I hate sharing food like with most people, but like if one of my friends asks for something, like absolutely 100%, like because I'm just so grateful to have the friends that I have. And so we're gonna go a quick like we're gonna loop back. We're gonna loop back to that. But I was talking about in the last version of this podcast I made, there was this, not I said, sorry. Oh God. Another version of hell. Back to what I was saying. I watched this podcast. It's called the Made It Out podcast. If you don't know, I'm gay. Surprise. Oh my gosh. Who knew? Anyways, but, I watched this podcast. It's called Made It Out, and they have like lesbians talking about how they came out or like their relationships, stuff that they've learned so far when they like just stuff like that. And they just talk about that. And I think it's a really cool podcast. So if you're interested in conversations like that, or if you're like an ally, if you're gay, definitely go check it out. I think it's really cool, and I think it's an important podcast. Also, I think it's very validating of like different experiences that can be had over the course of like coming out or telling your story about that. And I just think it's really cool that there's a podcast for that. And I hope, honestly, like one day I hope I'm on that podcast. Like I love it so much. I love watching it. I like the host, and I like that like it just feels like a really like this like tight knit and like accepting community. And that's really what I want from like the stuff that I do on the internet, is to like really build community. But anyways, but they had this girl who was on Becca Tilley, and she was on The Bachelor. And when I was growing up and when I was younger, I want to say in like late middle school, early high school, me and my sister would watch The Bachelor all the time because we grew up watching The Bachelor with my mom, which I don't really watch it that much anymore. It's just not that interesting to me. Like I feel like there's only so much you can do with like trying to find the love of your life on TV, and more than half the time it doesn't even work out. So it just stopped being interesting for me to watch. But anyways, she was on there and she was talking about therapy because she's dating this like really popular like pop artist who's gay. What's her name? She's on Lemonade Mouth. What is that girl's name? Damn. It slipped my mind. You can Google it. But anyways, and what's crazy is I've literally heard her music, and it's gonna bother me if I don't like say her name. So y'all gonna have to wait a second while I looked in my little liked songs and find it. And I'm gonna find it because she's in this song, because Kehlani's in a song with her. I just need to find the album cover, and then we're gonna be there. Hold on, guys. There's a lot of Kehlani songs in my little thing. Haley Kiyoko. I don't know why I couldn't remember her name. Like it was in my mind, but I couldn't say it. Anyways, but Becca is dating Haley Kiyoko, who is like lesbian god. That's a nickname that the internet has. That's not me. Anywho, so they're dating, and she went on the podcast and was kind of talking about like how they met and stuff like that. And I thought it was really cool because, I knew her from The Bachelor as the straight version of her. So like that was cool. Anyways, so I'm watching the podcast, and she ends up talking about how they had to go to group therapy. And she was kind of like, if we have to go to group therapy, like, I think that we might as well just call it quits on this relationship. And so she ended up talking about how great couples therapy is, and how it's not just for, people whose relationships about to end. Like, it's not always like this like disastrous thing to go to couples therapy. Like, it's a very healthy thing, and how she's always constantly learning from it. And she ends up talking about how therapy is hard and it's uncomfortable, and how she never leaves like thinking, oh, I'm such a great person. She leaves thinking like, I have so much work to do. And I thought that was such an interesting thing, because I'm so interested in therapy. Like, my bad. Damn, this virus is killing me. Anywho, but she was kind of like, I just like, damn, what was she like? That cough really threw me off. Hold on. That's the problem with being off the dome. You be losing track of things. Oh, anyways, she was talking about how, couples therapy is like great and stuff, but it made me think about how badly I want to be in therapy, because I wanted to be in therapy since I was like in high school, because like I just feel like there's just things that I need to work out. I feel like I want to be better, like I want to grow, I want to do all these things. And in order to do that, like mentally, I be mentally like, I just need help. I'm not like mental, like not like, oh, I have a mental illness type thing, but like I just have like a lot of things that I feel like I need to work through and work on in order for me to show up the best way that I can for my friends and for my family and stuff like that, and the new people that I encounter. And I had this friend, Paige, really great friend of the podcast. She's been on the podcast at least 1 or 2 times. Well, actually it would have been 2 times, but she got nervous that the people in the comment section on YouTube were gonna bully her, so she decided not to do that one. But she's been on the podcast before, and I think what's really great about, she's probably like one of my favorite people that I've ever encountered in my life, because like, how there's like certain friendships that you have that are like, oh, you grew up with this person and now you're growing together like as adults. Like my friend Mary, my friend Morgan, that's how I feel about them and their friendship, because I've known them since I was younger. And they like, I don't have a bunch of friends from home that I really keep in touch with, but I enjoy being around them and stuff like that. And I feel like I'm growing with them, even though I may not talk to them every single day, but we're always in contact, and I just like am really happy to have them in my life. But you have friends that you've grown up with and continue to grow with, and then you have friends that you've met in college, and you met each other at like a pretty vulnerable time, like, oh, this is a new experience for me, and now me and you were in this together. We graduated together. We've seen each other through the hard stuff in life. Like we talked to each other through the pandemic, stuff like that. At least for me and my friends. And then I met this friend through one of my college friends. And she didn't really like me at first. She didn't. She thought I was weird. Not weird, but like kind of lame. Gave loser a bit. That's fair. That's fair. Because I think her and then my other friend that I met through Xavier, they would kind of be like, oh, like Tori's so great. She's so cool. And then when we met in person, I wasn't giving the, like, she was like, I don't really get the hype around you. Like, people keep telling me, oh, you're so great, you're so funny, ha ha ha. But I don't really get it. Like, she's just Tori. Like, I know what you mean. And I just find that so funny, because now I talk to her all the time. But anyways, I really value our friendship, because she's constantly like challenging me to be better and to grow. And I think that that's really great to have in a friend, because like I said, like not all friendships are necessarily like that. But for her, she's like a very blunt person. She has a background in psychology, but also she does social work and stuff like that. And it's just really cool to have a friend that is challenging you, yes, but like our friendship at sometimes can be very uncomfortable because of that, like, because she wants the people around her to be better. Like she has expectations for the people in her life. And like I've said before on this podcast, and something that I really believe is that expectations, I think, are hard to have for other people, because it's like anybody can disappoint you at any time. And I think it's just really hard to have like a balance for expectations for others, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, it'd be really great to have people in your life that have like the same expectations as you, but it's so rare that you find those people. And I don't know, like I think it really just comes down to like meeting people or like being around people who want better for themselves, and then, you know, you trying to help them be better, do better, and, you know, raising the bar on expectations. Because when you think about it, like in society, especially right now in today's world, like I feel like, and because me and her have had this conversation, like the expectations that a lot of people have for people is just like, it's low key like the bar is in hell. And we definitely talked about this pertaining to Palestine, because she's very like, and really like in most of the things that she believes in, like she's very like hard set in them. And I think that's one of the things that I really appreciate about her, is that she really stands on business. And I think for me, it's not that I don't stand on business. We actually had this conversation literally last week when I was on my way home, which I think is so cool that like as you're an adult, I think like you watch TV shows and movies and you see people having like adult friendships, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for that. And then like I've been realizing that like I have that like with this friend. I'm like, this is really great. And, like you're like, you see people on movies and like they're talking on the phone in the car, or like, you know, they go and hang out. And I just think it's so cool that I'm experiencing that with my friends from college, and even like my friends from home. Like I just said, my friends Mary and Morgan, like we go out and hang out whenever they're home. And I just think it's really cool to see the evolution of friendships, but like when you step back and reflect on them, not necessarily in the moment, but yeah. Anyways, but we were talking in the car and she was kind of like, yeah, like I have expectations for people, and I feel like sometimes because other people aren't meeting that expectation, that like maybe I don't need to be friends with them. And I was kind of like, I feel like that's an important question to ask yourself, yes. But also, I think you kind of have to ask yourself, is like what they're bringing to your life, like what are like the pros and cons of that relationship, kind of, but not really. Because it's kind of just like, are they bringing more to your life than what they're taking from you, in a sense. So like for her, like the stuff that she believes in, that she stands in, and like even just having her friend show up for her is really important, and that makes sense. But it's also like, yes, but also I think for me it's just really, it just sometimes it can be, like I said, it can be like difficult, because while she is so strong standing in her beliefs, not that I'm not strong standing, it's just more so that I think I've grown up in an environment where I've had no choice but to think and put myself in other people's shoes and be empathetic of their situation. And not saying that she's not, but like she ended up putting it in a different way of like, as being a Black woman, you've probably experienced a lot of occasions where, you know, you've built up kind of an immunity to people who like have differing opinions from you, and you're kind of it's easier for you to just like, you know, not care, but like it's easier for you to just be like, this is how people are sometimes, and sometimes you just can't fight like that. Like and I was like, that's true. She didn't say it like that. I forgot exactly what her wording was, but it was something along the lines of that. And I was like, wow, I never thought about it that way. And she was like, for me, it just, I don't know, it's just really hard for me to get to that point. And I think that's fair. I think, like I said, like I've grown up around like a lot more conservative minded people. And so for me, like it's very easy for me, like it's easy for me to have different opinions than somebody, but to understand why they're that way and kind of give them like grace and leniency on that. But again, I think that there are just different people in the world, where there are some people who stand firmly in their stuff, and then there are other people who, I stand firmly in what I believe, and I believe you should believe what you believe. I'm more of a person who wants to have a conversation about it, so that maybe like us having a conversation where we're both listening to each other, not having a conversation in terms of like, I'm listening to you, because this is usually how it goes. I'm always open to having conversations about anything. Like I have conversations with people on TikTok about women's sports. I have conversations about people on the internet about race, politics, stuff like that, because I think it's important to have those conversations. And at the same time, a lot of times those conversations aren't actually conversations. Like because of how I've grown up, I want to hear what you're saying, not to prove you wrong. Like, I'm not going to sit there and cut you off while you're making your point. But whenever we're having these conversations, a lot of times just people throwing their facts and their opinions at me. And then when it's my turn to say something, all of a sudden I'm wrong. And because it just becomes a whole thing of like other people just not listening to the other side and not having the capacity to do that. And I think that that's something that we're missing, especially in American society today, is just like people not being able to have conversations in the way that conversations are supposed to be had. Like, you're supposed to be listening to each other, not listening to each other to respond. And I think that's like a very big problem. But anywho, I've grown up in that version of things. So I think for me, it's very easy for me to just be like, not say that like it's okay for certain people to believe certain things, but I kind of just believe everybody starts somewhere. And I think like if you can get to a point of having a conversation with somebody and maybe they're like opening their mind to a new idea. Hold on. I was down. Anyways, I think if you can kind of push somebody to open their mind up to another side of things, that I think that makes an impact. I think that's an impactful way to get people's minds thinking, beyond just the way that they've grown up. And even like people talk about on the internet a lot that when they got into college and started having these like college classes and stuff, they end up like opening their mind up to new things. And, I think that just it just comes down to just being exposed to new things. And I think if you're not willing to give people who are kind of conservative or haven't really experienced people pushing back on their ideologies, I think if you don't give people that opportunity to experience that, you're kind of doing them a disservice. And again, I will say, I don't think it's everybody's job to educate. But at the same time, again, sometimes you may be the only person in that person's life that is willing to push back on their ideals. And I think that's just really important. I don't know. Anyways, we're having that conversation and it made me think about that. But again, I think our friendship is really great because we're having conversations like that. I'm sorry. I'm falling apart over here. But we're having conversations like that. And she's challenging my way of thinking. And also, I'm pushing back on her way of thinking. And I just think it's really cool and awesome to have friendships like that. I'm past the 30 minutes, but I haven't told the challenger story yet. So back to that. Like I said, I think therapy is really important and really cool. And I hope I get the opportunity to experience therapy at some point. Hope I have enough money for that. Hope I have insurance for that. Regular American things you worry about. But anywho, friendships are great. Really grateful for them. But yeah, back to challengers. So, like I said, we had that vortex burger. I couldn't taste anything, but I love to share with my friends. And so I was like, literally, why would I not give you some of this burger? So I had like a quarter of it left. And so I gave him the rest of it. And he tore that burger up. He did. And he ate the rest of the fries too. And I don't know, like in those moments, I'm just like, wow, like I'm just so grateful for my friends. I think when I'm drunk, those are the things that I'm thinking about. I'm like, wow. I just think about my life and like where I'm at. I'm like, there are certain points in the night that happens. It's not in the very moment. Like when I'm initially drunk, it's like, oh, we're having a great time. Very present experience. And then as the night goes on, it's like, wow, like I'm glad that I experienced this moment with these people, and I'm very happy to have these friends because there was a time when I didn't have friends like that. Like I wasn't going out with people, like I wasn't hanging out with them really, and it's just like really crazy to like really look at my life from like high school to now because it's like I've gone through a lot of things and I've changed a lot as a person and like mentally and in so many other ways. My God. Anyways, but I'm just like, and I don't know, I'm just like, there are just moments when I think it's just really important for everybody to step back and be like, just think about like how much you've grown and learned over the course of your years. And even if you just like think back to like the year before then, and that's really hard for me to do because like I've said before, I'm about to get laid off my job. And at this time last year, I had just graduated and I had like quit my job that I had scooping chicken salad in January because I really needed to focus on school and I just wasn't happy there. And I was going through a lot mentally. And if you want to hear about that, go and check out season 5 premiere. That was a great episode. Some of my best work, actually. Anyways, but I went and like I think about that sometimes, and I think what's been really rough for me over the past few weeks has just as the weeks are coming to a close in May because I'll be losing my job May 31st. I just like think about where I was last year and I was really thinking of it negatively of like, wow, I'm about to be in the exact same position I was last year. I didn't have a job and I was kind of sad and I was just spending the days wasting away with my dog and all of this stuff, but so much has changed since then. And I think if you're able to think about like the lesson that you've learned in those years, yeah, I may be unemployed in June at the same time I was last year searching for a job and stuff, but I've learned so much about myself and about the things that I'm interested in, like my passions, and I've done a lot of things like not only like have I been super like I'm just really proud of this podcast and how this podcast in particular has kind of allowed for other things in my life to be better is really great. Like being consistent here with this podcast has really like helped me break out creatively on TikTok and just not being so ashamed and nervous of like what people are going to think of me, or really care that much about what people are saying about me and stuff like that. And then the courage that I've gotten from TikTok doing well has given me the courage to, start my other basketball podcast, which is doing well. And I'm just so proud of that because it's just so baffling to me on any level that anybody is listening to anything that I say. Like, I don't think that I go into anything really expecting that. Like, I think I want to love what I do and like the process of it. Like I love being creative and making videos. I love just yapping, coming on the internet and having conversations with people. I love the idea of building community and being able to open up people's minds to different ideas and stuff. But also it's just really cool that there's this quote that I talked about last year around this time, when Steph Curry's Underrated movie came out. And he had quoted a different athlete and said, fall in love with the process and the results will come. And I really just put that into this podcast and into everything that I've been doing. And I really have been just enjoying, I just enjoy making videos. I enjoy making music. I enjoy making videos, podcasts or whatever. And the results are coming and I'm really proud of that. And I don't think I let myself be proud of myself very often because I think it's just like a really hard thing to do. I think you grow up thinking that you need to be humble and you need to have humility through everything that you do. And it's true that you do need to be humble and have humility, yes. And you definitely need to be, sorry, the viral infection kicked in there. Anyways, and I think that you definitely need to be selfless and stuff like that. But it's also very important that, yes, it's important to do those things and to be humble and to never think of yourself as more than anybody else. But it's also important sometimes to take a step back and just think about what you've done and the hurdles that you overcome and the challenges that you overcome in your life. And just like be like, okay, like you did that. Like there were times when you would be crying in your room. There were times when you didn't think that things were going to get better. And like I've said, this year has been really hard for me, really rough. This viral infection is honestly the icing on the cake at this point. But I think you just kind of have to believe that life is going to get better and everything happens for a reason. And I don't really know what the reason for this is because this is actually quite tragic. But I don't know. Like I think getting sick or even like moments of unemployment, I think have allowed me to really think about my life and the things that I've done so far, and that I think you just have to have hope and believe that things are going to get better and that things are always going to have the potential of being better. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm kind of trying to think positively. I know that every day I won't think positively because it's really hard to think positive every single day for obvious reasons. Like there's always something happening like all the time. And I think that that's okay. I think it's okay to sometimes not really believe that things are going to be fine. I think it's just important to not stay in that mindset also. But anyways, I think, like I said, it's important to be humble and everything, but there's no point in having success in life if you're never going to like take a step back and acknowledge it. Like, yeah, you can live a really great life, and then maybe at the end of it, like when you're on your deathbed, you're like, wow, I wish I thought I should have been more proud of myself in that moment. I should have celebrated myself in that moment when I did that thing. And I never really, like I've said before, I never want to die with like regrets. And I feel like that's how a lot of movies and TV shows, that's the lesson that I've gotten from a lot of the things that I watch and a lot of media that I consume, is that you don't want to grow up with regrets. And I think what's really great about what I do now is that it's giving me the courage to do those things. And as long as you have the courage to do something, I think that you'll never really have regret. Like, it's not easy to do the things that I do. Sorry. My mom called me. Anyways, what was I saying? Something about being humble. I hate distractions in my life. I hate distractions. She was just checking on me to make sure I was feeling okay, but damn, that really, really cut off my mental track. But yeah, I think, oh yeah, it's really hard for me to do the things I do. I remember sometimes it can be hard to do the things I do. And I think I remember that when I talk to my friends sometimes about like certain stuff that I'm doing, and they're like, I could never do that. I couldn't. And that's fair. That's fair. I don't think I could do some of the stuff that they do. I think we're all just built to do different things in life. Anyways, but I think, back to what I was saying, I think you just always, as long as you have the courage to do something, and if you can just believe in yourself long enough to like get the thing done, and then, release it or show it to people, or share it with the world, I think you'll just never really live with regrets, really. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say there. Back to the drinks. The drinks. So anyways, we were the Luna Azul. So we've already had, background stuff with the Luna Azul. So my friend was kind of like, yeah, girl, I don't really know if you're going to drink that. And I was like, I think it'll be okay. It'll be okay. So, because you're thinking like when you go to a restaurant, well, drinks be watered down anyways. So, we get the drinks. They look really great. It tasted really good. It's like juice, which is kind of the problem, isn't it? Anyways, so, I'm starting to drink up a little bit, and I'm just sipping on it, and it tastes good, but I'm not going to lie. I was feeling it. I was feeling it. And I was like, I need to stop drinking this. I was like telling my friend, I was like, girl, I'm really drunk. Like, oh my God, I'm drinking the Buffalo Wild Wings. But the drink was good, y'all. If y'all have a Buffalo Wild Wings near you, get that strawberry margarita. Get it. You might need somebody to drive you home, but get that strawberry margarita. Anyways, so then we ended up eating, and like the wings were mid. Like, I don't know who was back there frying them wings up that day, but they were kind of ass. So anywho, they could have done better, but and I didn't have that much money because actually I have been struggling financially. So, and I'm about to get laid off. So like and subscribe, get in the comments for the engagement. If you ever had Luna Azul, tell me a story about it. You know what I'm saying? If you had Buffalo Wild Wings strawberry margarita, get in the comments. If you've seen challengers, we're about to get into that. Get in the comments. Anyways, so, back to what I was saying. We get the drinks and we ate, and I didn't have a lot of money like that. And so I was like, girl, what am I going to do? But I also feel like when you don't have that much money, or like, at least for me, I was kind of like, money's made to be spent. This is how I talk myself into buying stuff or going out to things I don't need to be going out to. I'm like, money's meant to be spent. And at the end of the day, like, you're going to be like, at the end of the day, like, you may not have that money that you thought you were going to have, but it's just sometimes, I don't want to be sitting here in June being like, dang, I should have gone out with my friend when I had the chance to, because I'm really going to be dirt poor then. And I'm like, I need to just go out and have this experience and do what I need to do now, because I'm young, and when are you ever going to get another chance like this? And we have to live our lives to the fullest. And that's really what got me. And I was like, yep, girl, we're going out. And so I did. Anyways, so then it was time to go to that movie. So, like, it's in the same plaza situation, so it's like a block away. So we went to the movie, and we walk in, and this is where the spoilers, so, like, spoiler, skip ahead if you haven't seen the movie. So, obviously, I've been avoiding the internet for the past few weeks or not even avoiding the internet, but I just had to be very careful about what I was consuming because, like, people love to spoil movies on Twitter and on TikTok. Like, they don't even give you, like, the courtesy 2 weeks. Like, people be saying you only get a courtesy week before we start spoiling on the timeline. But I need more time than that. Like, maybe my money's funny. Give me some time. Anyways, so this is really where I'm going to nerd out because I really love movies so much. Like, oh my God, I love movies. Actually, the spoilers ain't there yet. Let me talk about this first. There are a lot of people out there who, I have a letterboxd account, so if you want to go follow me on there, I'm going to put it in the description. But I just love movies so much to the point of, like, even if a movie's bad or, like, people have said it's bad, I'm probably still going to watch it. Like, a movie would have to be pretty boring for me to not enjoy it. But I typically enjoy every movie or every piece of media that I watch because I feel like there's just something to learn from everything when it comes to media and art. And I just really love it. And I don't mean that in like a corny way of like, oh, film buffs. And I don't mean that in like the way of like the annoying people who, if you are one of those annoying people, I'm sorry, I don't mean to call you out like this. But there are some of those annoying people out there who just make watching movies their whole personality. And I low-key hate it when people do that because it's like, girl, calm down. Like, it's not that serious. But anyways, I just love this movie so much, and I thought it was really cool, and I wanted to come in here and talk about it. So now, if you haven't seen the movie, definitely skip ahead. I left the movie with multiple things on my mind. First of all, I think, like I said, I saw it last Saturday, and I came out the movie with 3 things. One of them being that I have a big crush on Zendaya, and I do want to say that ponytail was ponying. Okay, I've never seen a ponytail pony like that. I haven't. I think definitely growing up, watching her on Shake It Up and Disney Channel stuff, and then like watching her in Spider-Man and in Dune and stuff like that, like I've always just been like, oh my gosh, Zendaya is really stunning. Like seeing her on red carpets or like at movie premieres and stuff, I've just always been like, wow, she's stunning. She looks great all the time. She's amazing. This movie really opened my eyes. I was like, wow, Zendaya is really that girl. Like Zendaya is, I was like, wow, I have a crush on Zendaya. Like, I get it. Like, I get what I get what they were seeing. I get what they were saying now. Like, I really get it. I don't know. I think for me, like when you watch like shows like Euphoria or even like the Spider-Man movies and even Dune, like she's typically always playing a character who you feel like you can empathize with. I don't know. It's just very different from the characters that she typically plays, but I'm really glad that she's kind of getting out of her like comfort zone of those types of characters. But outside of that, I think Zendaya's best quality as an actress is just her ability to like express and portray emotions. I know that that's kind of like the point of acting. Sorry. I know that that's kind of like the point of acting, but I don't know. There was like a point in the movie when she had just got done playing against Art after her knee injury, and she went to go sit underneath this tree, and she took the knee brace off, and she was just sitting underneath the tree, and you can really just see like the moment of realization that she's never going to be able to play tennis to the level that she had been training for all of her life, and that she was about to be losing something that was very important to her. And I don't know, like the way that like I really felt like the emotion of like being let down in that moment, and it was just, she did a great job. So honestly, applause to Zendaya. She really ate that thing up. But the moment that I realized that I had a crush on Zendaya was when she did that scream after she won that tennis match against that girl. She really ate that. Anyways, but also I left the movie thinking this was a Love and Basketball remake, and if you've seen Love and Basketball, you may kind of get what I'm saying here, but also I was drunk when I typed that, so I can't really, I was coming off the drunkenness actually when I typed that, so like don't take too much. But there's this scene at the end of the movie, or close to the end of the movie, where the 2 main characters, they had kind of been together and dated at some points in the movie, and there was one point when the main woman character was like, play me for my heart. or I'll play you for your heart or something. And so they both played basketball, and it ended up being this whole thing, but that's what the match at the end of or throughout the movie felt like to me. It felt like this whole play me for Zendaya's character Tashi's heart, right? That's what it felt like to me, but that's not the type of time that Tashi was on. But that's what it felt like to me, and there was like a certain point in the movie where I was like, this feels like I'm watching Love and Basketball. Anyways, but also I had one more note. Whoever did the audio for the sauna scene, they were going to hell, because that shit was loud as fuck. Like, it was loud as hell. I remember I was sitting in the movie theater, and I was like, why are they screaming? Why are they literally screaming? I don't know how that got past the editors. I don't know how that got past the production people, but somebody needed to say something about that. Anyways, things I loved about the movie. I loved, I know that they were doing time jumps, but I really loved that the logos on the cups and stuff. I just loved that era of, 90s, early 2000s for, the logos that restaurants and companies had back then, because all of the companies were trying to be unique. Like Gatorade, Taco Bell, places like that. Like, every single restaurant kind of had its own character. It had its own characterization and personification of the brand. And so you associated certain things with each brand. Whereas now I feel like everything's just trying to be modern and simplistic. If you go and you drive around to newer restaurants that they've redesigned, or newer ones that they've built, everything is in a little cube, or everything is just very boxy and it's brick, and I don't know, it's just very weird, and no brand has its own characterization, and it had no brand has its own personality anymore, and I really hate that. But I liked the use of the old Taco Bell cups, the old logos of the Gatorade bottles, because I don't know, they were just really cool, and that's a very nostalgic time of life, even though I only grew up in 2001, but that was back when stuff still had personality to it. Now everything's just about being modern and simplistic and being brick and white. And I even just hate the way that modern homes look, but that's a story for another time. I just think it's very boring for things to all be the same. But that really is a separate conversation for another day. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. Anyways, but I also liked the tennis, the matches. I loved the way that was shot. Especially when they were going back and forth with their swings and stuff, and then it ended up going into this aerial view of the court. I thought that was so cool, and I really loved the way that the film was directed. The cinematography was amazing, and it reminded me of a different movie. And throughout the entirety of the movie, I was like, this movie reminds me of something. First of all, I think I was the first thing that came to mind was I think this movie was filmed on film, but also it was okay, 35, I ended up going home and Googling 35 millimeter. It was filmed on 35 millimeter film, but also, or camera. I don't really know how that works, but 35 millimeter. And I was like, this movie feels old and vintage, but in the way that in a movie that I've seen before. And I was like, this movie, the way it's directed reminds me of Call Me By Your Name. To which I went home and Googled it and found out that was the same director. And I was like, that is so cool that he's the same director. And I just really love the fact that when it comes to directing movies and stuff, you can kind of always tell, or not always, but certain filmmakers have a personality to their directing. And I just love that you can kind of tell who filmed what, and I just really liked the connection there. I was kind of this looks like a movie I've seen before, the way that it was filmed, and I love that when I found that out, he was the guy who directed it, because I love the film score of that movie also, and I think the music that was used, or I don't even think there was there music in that movie? I don't remember if there was music in that movie, but Challengers, but in Call Me By Your Name, they had a really great film score, and if you've never seen that movie, there are some people who don't like that movie. I like the movie. I think it's I love the story and the way that it's told. So if you're interested in seeing that movie, definitely watch it. Anyways, I thought the acting was really great. It was top tier. I think everybody in the movie was great. Like I said before and mentioned briefly, I love the role Zendaya has been choosing to play recently, especially in Dune Part 2. I went to go see that, and I really enjoyed it. for a lot of reasons, but I just really enjoyed it just because these aren't just like these aren't like basic characters that Zendaya has been choosing to play lately. Like they're very complex, and I'm really like happy that she's at the point in her career where she's like, just like making some really good decisions on like what roles she's choosing. And I just think it's really cool to see her like evolution from like Disney Channel to playing in like a show like Euphoria or a movie like Dune or a movie like Challengers. I think it's really cool to see that she can kind of like do a lot of these things. And that used to be like something that people would say a lot, is that Zendaya just doesn't really like, this doesn't really seem like a good actor. Like she only chooses these really basic characters to portray. And I think I really just love that she's, challenging herself in a way. You guys get a challenger, challenging, anyways. But I love that she's challenging herself to do those things, and she's doing it very well. So really happy with Zendaya's performance there. One of my friends was not very impressed by the acting, but I enjoyed it. So I don't even be caring what people think. But yeah. Yeah, but I did want to mention everything feels like an intentional choice. That's what I wanted to say there. And I've just been enjoying seeing her grow as an actress. So I think her character, Tashi, I loved that she's kind of an asshole in this movie. And if you still are sticking around, because I actually haven't said any spoilers up until now, so if you really haven't seen the movie, now is your time to just cut to something else. But I love that she's an asshole in this movie. Like I said at the beginning, she's played as like a very hard and poised character, for lack of better words, but I think she's also just someone who's lost the ability to do what she loves. And throughout the whole movie, she just wanted to see tennis, but the way that it's meant to be played. And I love that everything comes back to that idea in the movie, because there was a scene where Art and Patrick, who are the two male main characters, go to the beach, and Patrick is trying to ask her like questions about herself and for her number. But Art is kind of asking her about the Scream, which is when I knew I had the crush on Zendaya. He was kind of asking her about the Scream that she had released when she won her match against that girl that they saw her playing against. And she says tennis is a relationship, and then the entirety of the film just revolves around that line. And I thought that was really fun. And because of that line, everything calling back to it, I really enjoyed the parallelism that existed between the time jumps of like present day to back when they were younger, and then even like when they go back to the scenes from Atlanta. I also loved the use of pathetic fallacy in the scenes from the flashbacks in Atlanta. I think the use of wind and turbulence was really great to pair with the fact that she ends up cheating on Art with Patrick. And then even like when he goes and hits the tennis ball at the end of the match, and he does the like tell sign, that he had slept with Tashi, and I just thought it was really interesting and great. Like I really love that movie. But yeah, I thought the movie was extremely gay as well, honestly. The subtle conversation surrounding sexuality and passion and evolving relationships was very well done to me. And I just think Challengers is a really just an entire movie. It felt like to me, that's what I said in the movie theater to my friend. I was like, yeah, girl, this movie felt like it just edging for Tashi to get what she really wanted at the end, which was to see a great tennis match. And at the end of the parallel of her screaming, come on, and then cutting to black it was just perfectly done. I really enjoyed it. Like she got exactly what she wanted all movie, which was to watch a good tennis match. And it had been a long time coming, considering where they started and where they ended, for her to see that good tennis match. But that's what she wanted this whole time. And like, it was like, if she couldn't participate in it, then I'm going to make like, somebody else is going to do it so I can finally enjoy watching the game. And I think Pat and Art's strained relationship really helped them play at their best for her to get to that moment of enjoyment for her, which is why I thought that was edging. Like, she finally got what she wanted at the end. Like, it was a whole thing. Anyways. But I thought it was a very impactful piece. And I honestly can't wait until it's on something where I can watch it. last thing we're going to tackle, and I don't even have all the information on it. I actually have two things to tackle. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck are apparently headed for Splitsville. Apparently they're not living together. And I low-key feel bad for Jennifer Lopez because she went and made that little movie about that album that she made. And I talked about this last week. She made that movie about that album last week. Not last week. I talked about it last week. But she made that little thing on Amazon Prime and people kind of clowned her for it. And rightfully so. But they clowned her for it, and she was kind of just talking about this relationship like, you know, this is the love of my life and I'm finally with him and things are good. And even though I've heard a lot of stories about her on TikTok that like she's basically a terrible person. Not many people have great experiences with that woman. But I kind of feel bad because I just hate that it's kind of happening. And I feel like I would feel this way for anybody. I just hate that it's happening so publicly. Like I think that that's the aspect of it that really sucks, is that it's one thing to just be down bad and like be down on your luck and like that's happening privately. And maybe you come out and tell that story later on, like years from now. But to see like you made an album about this relationship and about how much you love him and stuff, and then for not only like people to be talking about your music like that and basically clowning you for the past few months, weeks, but then to like your relationship not to be going well, and basically you guys are about to get a divorce, and you know you thought this was the man for you and you guys are giving it a second chance. And I just feel kind of bad for her, but at the same time she is rich. And she is not she's not typically spoken about as being the nicest person around. So I can't really, but I do feel bad that it's happening publicly. That's the element of it. I hate that anything has to happen, that anything personal has to happen publicly. But also, I think that just comes down to karma sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I think it's unfortunate all around. But anywho, that should be an interesting story that's developing. Lastly, I do want to talk about the Diddy and Cassie situation, which I never talked about Diddy on this channel because there's just a lot going on there that like I don't even really know how to talk about and break down. But I just think I believed Cassie when she came out with this lawsuit because I've been seeing a lot of those Jaguar Wright videos on TikTok, and if you guys know who she is, like that lady, she be on there. She's on the money with it. But you know, she talked about Diddy, and like even other people have like talked about stuff, and there have been blind items, and I'm into pop culture stuff, so like I just naturally know this stuff. Other people may not, but the video that got released from CNN of the violence and abuse that Cassie was experiencing, or at one time that was one incident that she had experienced. I just think it's just really upsetting. Like, and even just to go on the internet and find out that people didn't believe her when she had said that that had happened to her in the first place is very upsetting. But also, I'm just really sad that like, and then I think it came out that he had paid off the hotel to give him the tapes, to give him like the video footage of it. And the only reason that they got found was because of the raid that happened at his homes. And then he went and released like a video earlier today and was talking about how I was going through a really hard time at that time, and it's no excuse for what I did, and all this rah. I'm not trying to hear all that. Like I'm not even, I was about to say I'm sorry, like, but no, I'm not sorry. No, there's no world where you're allowed to come on the internet and be like, I was in a really bad place then and I'm really sorry. But you just said that you didn't do that, the allegations weren't true and stuff when her settlement happened and you guys settled. Like, I thought you didn't do anything wrong. What happened to that? That's one. But two, it's also very upsetting because it's like there were people in the comments like, we forgive you, and they were having stuff like on TikTok live. I told you guys about how TikTok lives be. People be on there debating stuff and having controversy and stuff like that. And people were like, what will it take for us to forgive Diddy? What do you mean, what will it take for us to forgive Diddy? People be writing off women's pain and abuse and the violence that they experience as something to be forgiven for. First of all, first of all, that didn't happen to you. So it doesn't really matter what it's going to take for you to forgive. That's first. Secondly, why would you want to forgive a clown like that? Like somebody who openly abuses people like that and commits violence. And I know other people knew about that, because there's no way that other people in Hollywood didn't know about that. There's no way. And so it's really hard for me to be like, oh, like, these people, they didn't know. There's no way you didn't know. There's no way, because he's treated too many women like that for nobody to know. That's one. Actually, that's two. Three, how bad can you really feel if you went and paid $50,000 for the camera footage, right? But you're so sorry though, right? You don't excuse the behavior. But had that camera footage not come out though, you would have never reflected on your life. It's given me a lot of time to reflect on things. Nobody trying to hear all that mumbo jumbo. Nobody trying to hear all that rah-rah. You did all that stuff to that girl, and who knows what else you've done that we haven't heard about. People have this, the lawsuits are out there, the papers are out there for the public to read. I'm not reading all that personally, but I believe every word of what people are saying about this man. I believe it. And honestly, it's really hard for me to not believe that anybody who ever was in close connection with him didn't know about that. And I'm sure that they did. And there's far too many people around him who knew about the stuff that he was doing and never said anything. And I get it. Yeah, he has money and has the potential to ruin your life or who knows what else, because there are a lot of allegations against what he's done to people. But, which I'm not going to get into. But nobody wanted to say nothing. Like, it took Cassie to come out, get the settlement stuff. So now, and I'm glad she did it. So now people feel comfortable coming forward with what they went through. But I'm just like, I'm very disappointed that nobody's out here protecting these women. Nobody's protecting these young girls who are in the industry. Nobody's protecting these people. And y'all better be glad that girl got out, because who knows what that could have turned into. Who knows? That camera footage was disturbing to watch, hard to stomach. And I don't even want to know what he did that wasn't caught on camera. Who knows what he was doing to other people? This is just nasty, sick, and disgusting. And anybody who's sitting around talking about, I forgive him, da 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 da, doesn't matter what you do, because it's not up to you. That man has broken laws. He's done a lot of stuff, and he's gonna have a lot to answer for in this life and in whatever happens after. But that man, he's going to hell. That's all I have to say there. That man's going to hell. Anyways. This was nice, guys. This was nice. Next week, we're going to come back. Hopefully, I'm not sick, but who really knows what's going to happen? I meant to come on here for only 30 minutes, but I came in here for like an hour and 6. So, anywho, if you guys want to follow me or look at my other social media, everything's on this channel in the link tree in the description. Yeah, it's going to be a great time. If you saw the movie, please definitely get in the comments and share your thoughts on it. And if you have anything to add about friendships, stuff you've learned in your life, I just need the engagement, guys. So if you love me and you watch this episode, feel free to get in the comments, or just like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe. I really don't care, but please just talk to me. Talk to me in the comments, because I care about you and I want to know more from you. And I'm not above begging. Like I said last week, I'm not above it. I'm not above it. I'm going to see you guys next week. Bye.